everybody! Happy Corona time!
Also known as the worst summer ever.
I am currently in LA, California. I will be flying back to Singapore tomorrow night, and prior to my trip back, I've already been alerted that I will be put into a hotel for about 2 weeks, 14 days, whichever you want to call it, to just kind of be checked in by health officials to make sure that I am being quarantined correctly. So I just kind of thought that I would document it, bring you guys along, let you see what it's like to be a Singapore citizen, and yeah, here we go.
So this week in general was pretty stressful for me just because my university had just closed down. I had to move out of my dorm to another dorm building that my university had set aside specifically for students who couldn't go home. And then flying home to Singapore was an abrupt decision made between me and my family. And so I had to pack up once again, move all of my stuff to my then boyfriend, now ex's house, and finish up assignments that were due that weekend. And so because of that, I was really overwhelmed and I couldn't really film that much while I was still in LA. And I'll be picking up from the airport to the hotel. The flight back to Singapore was relatively normal. We were required to wear gloves, and throughout the flight we needed to have 2 layers of mask on at all times apart from meals. The 8 rows surrounding me were all empty in order to meet social distancing regulations, and so I got to stretch my legs, which was a huge plus. It was only after I landed in Singapore that things started being a little different. I was required to first fill out some health declaration forms, and then was guided to a table where I would give them my citizen identification number, phone number, and be given my traveler number. These were the things that would be used to track me for the next 2 weeks. After, I was led outside to another table to be started to the hotel, which I will be locked and monitored in for the next 2 weeks, and then I boarded a bus and headed to my temporary quarantine location. Once we arrived at the hotel, we checked in our location on the government health tracking website. Hotel staff then noted down our passport numbers, took our temperatures, and distributed our one-use keys. A member of the Singapore Health Ministry then briefed us of the rules we would have to adhere to for the next 14 days. This could all pretty much be boiled down to don't leave your room. Once the briefing was done, it was time for me to grab my suitcases and key and head to what would be my home for the next half a month. Hello there, you've reached the part of the vlog where I was the most restless. The first 3 days were honestly great. I woke up whenever I wanted to, and I was always surrounded by too much food. More food. And it's just, that's all I ever do now. I eat. Apart from classes, I could spend the entire day watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and playing Animal Crossing. Twice a day, I would receive a call from a Singapore health official who would confirm that I was still in my quarantine location through video call and also check in on my temperature. The room came with a menu for the week, 2 towels, 2 hand towels, 8 bottles of water, 1 kettle, 1 tea and coffee set, 5 trash bags, 2 boxes of tissues, 2 rolls of toilet paper, and 1 laundry bag. As an extrovert, being confined to a space with no human contact for 14 days can be pretty awful, And since the hotel was being fully paid for by the government, I wasn't expecting very much, but I decided to keep a note of the quality of the hotel services for this vlog and also to kind of appease my boredom a little bit. I was staying at the Copthorne Kings Hotel and I was looking out for the quality of the food services, laundry services, and guest services. Starting off with food services, every day at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and 5 p.m. I had my meals delivered. I already knew what I'll be served beforehand because of the menu that I got at the beginning of the week. And to be honest, the food was actually really good. They had anything from Singapore classics to Western food, and I was always really well fed, but of course there were times where I missed actual food from the outside, and so that's when I started ordering food delivery almost every day, and I spent so much money in the 2 weeks just on delivery services, but I honestly think that it was worth it. On to laundry services. This was one of the services that I didn't really need, mainly because I was in my room for the entire 2 weeks and so I only ever wore pajamas. But I still had the outfit that I wore on the plane ride over and 2 sets of pajamas that I did change out of, and so I thought I'd send those in for the sake of getting a full experience. What I had to do was put my name and room number onto the laundry bag that I was given, put my laundry pieces inside. I was allowed 7 to 8 pieces. I was then given a slip where I would take note of the pieces of clothing that I did put inside the bag for the laundry room to keep track of. Once that was all done, I tied up the bag and put it outside my door to be collected the next morning. My bag of washed laundry was brought back the day after at about 5 p.m. mid-afternoon. They washed most of my clothes, but there were some pieces where they weren't able to due to the temperature of the washing machines that were used in the hotel. And honestly, it was fine. I didn't expect to have my laundry washed in the first place, so I was very happy and content with whatever I did get. And so yeah, that's it for laundry services. Finally, guest services. There honestly isn't that much to say since I couldn't interact with the hotel staff. However, I would like to note that I felt very cared for by them. As I said earlier, I ordered a lot of delivery food. A lot of family friends had food delivered to me, and because I couldn't be in the lobby to receive it, the hotel staff always received it on my behalf and then brought it up to the 18th floor. There were days where I got 4 to 5 food items a day and they would just come up one by one really patiently, and I was really thankful to them for taking the time out of their day to do that. And there was always someone at the front counter ready to take my call. They were always very willing to cater to my unique needs as a quarantine patient who in a way was handcuffed and couldn't really do a lot of things for herself, and so because of that I really appreciated the staff. So thank you to the people at Copthorne. I really enjoyed my stay. Hello? Thank you all so much for watching my quarantine experience flying home to Singapore. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please wear a mask and I pray that you will stay safe during this hard time. Bye!